Good afternoon. You are with the news here on the big story. I'm Seher Zama. The top focus this afternoon being on the massive Ponzi scheme. Allegedly, that has duped investors of about 2,000 crore rupees in total that has been calculated so far. This one's coming in from Bengaluru. The ED has started probing what is called the IMA Ponzi scheme. Special investigation team that has just been set up by the Bengaluru police have now arrested 7 directors of the company. The scam that came to light after a man who's said to be the owner of a popular jewelry brand there, IMA Jewels in Bengaluru, released an audio clip where he threatened to commit suicide. The founder of the IMA Jewels, Mansoor Khan, released a second audio clip. This was in an assurance. One, of course, rubbishing rumors of him having committed suicide or his family having fled with all the money. In this second audio clip, he promises investors, though, that he would eventually return their money. The audio clip, which has the voice of Mansoor Khan, alleged that he's being pressurized now to bribe politicians, or has been in the past. He also went on to allege senior politicians. He's taken names such as Zamir Ahmed, Congress leader Roshan Beg, had taken huge sums of money to contest the elections from him. They failed to return this money after having lost the elections. Roshan Beg, though, as well as Zamir Ahmed, have denied these charges.
डाला गया है कि IMA के अंदर ज़मीर अहमद खान ने 2 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी 5 करोड़ लिया करके, यानी वो सरासर गलत है। मैंने एक मेरी क्लियर कट प्रॉपर्टी रिचमंड टाउन के अंदर थी, वो बॉलिंग्स बॉयज़ के पीछे, वो प्रॉपर्टी मैंने IMA को बेचा था। वो प्रॉपर्टी दिसंबर 17 तारीख को उनसे 9 करोड़ चिल्लर में धंधा होकर 5 करोड़ रुपए एडवांस लिया गया। RTGS मेरे अकाउंट में RTGS आया है, यानी इलीगल कोई नहीं। उसके बाद वही इसके मई के अंदर ये जो बैलेंस पैसा था 4 करोड़ 30 करोड़ 6 लाख रुपए देके ये सेल डीड रजिस्टर हुआ है। अभी 1 साल के अंदर कम से कम 6-7 कंपनी ऐसा पब्लिक का पैसा डुबा देगी है। तो हमने कल CM से भी वही रिक्वेस्ट किया, होम मिनिस्टर से भी वही रिक्वेस्ट किया, भाई इसको फुल स्टॉप दो इधर। आप ये कर, अब दूसरा और पैदा होएगा, आप इसका तनिके करेंगे, गर्मा गर्मी एक दो महीना रहेगी, उसके बाद फिर दूसरा कोई पैदा होगा। तो मेहरबानी से कुछ कानून ऐसा लो कि कोई भी ऐसा फ्रॉड कंपनी आना नहीं चाहिए, इधर को ख़त्म करो, फुल स्टॉप दो।
There are a lot of allegations against you with regard to the IMA fraud. That's just come up. Your first thought?
I am requesting on the Honorable Chief Minister, welcoming the constitution of a SI to probe into this. I will be requesting the Chief Minister to refer this matter, not only this IMA, but there are various other companies, about 12 to 13 companies like Ambident, Ala, Injas, Capital, and so many other companies which have duped thousands of investors in Bangalore. There are a lot of investors who are from the neighboring states also. Some of them are absconding, some of them are out on bail. So if this matter is referred to the CBI, it will be easier for them to trace them whichever part of the world they are. They can issue red alert notice. They can refer this matter to the Interpol. So it will be easier for the CBI to apprehend these frauds, to apprehend these culprits. My total cooperation with the government and the investigation is there.
Let us introduce you to our guests for this afternoon. We have Mr. Abdul Razak Khan, he's the leader of the JDS, and also Mr. Syed Saeed. He's an investor in the IMA scheme. But first, we're quickly going to get an inputs here from our correspondent Neha, who's been tracking multiple updates coming in ever since protests broke out in the city in Bengaluru by the investors, saying that they've been duped of so many thousands of crores of rupees. Neha, this is yet another Ponzi scheme which went unnoticed only till the person who was running this scheme went underground, released multiple audio clips and scaring the investors here. But it's also a question of how this has been operating. And shockingly, a lot of the transactions and investments and returns to the investors that were made were through digital transactions of the bank as well.
that's right, sir. In fact, of course, how this company really managed to, of course, accumulate, amass this much wealth of the investors, and how it sort of, managed to sort of still keep their faith, keep their trust, hold on to that trust without really paying them out, of course, for the past 3 months. Well, that is something, of course, that is very mysterious. We did speak to a couple of investors on ground yesterday who said that it was solely because they trusted this man, Mansoor Khan, that they put their money into the company, and that he has actually gone on to sort of, cheat them, and he's misused, of course, their faith and their belief in the company. So now, what really has to be seen is how much the SIT would be able to probe this matter and get down to the root of it, because we're talking about a scam worth crores of rupees over here. And if at all, of course, like Mansoor Khan claims in the second audio clip, if at all the audio clip does get verified, and it does, of course, end up that this audio clip, the voice in the audio clip does belong to Mansoor Khan, once that's verified, and they manage to find his whereabouts, they manage to bring him back and grill him, it's only then that there is, of course, some hope going forward now. Now, the police who have been at it continuously for the past 72 hours now, they've been registering complaints, almost, of course, the number of complaints should have shot up to about a good 16,000, 17,000 even now. And also a convention center, of course, in Shivaji Nagar, where in the limits of this very IMA jewels itself has been converted into a makeshift police station of sorts, where the police have been lodging complaints, where they've been registering complaints of all of these investors who've been queuing up day after day.
Okay.
So what now really remains to be seen is whether or not they manage to crack this entire case. Well, they have arrested 7 directors for now. They would be trying and going about getting as much details as they can about the company, about the scheme, about the interest that was supposed to be paid out to these people, and more importantly about how and where exactly all of this money has gone.
Absolutely. Stay on with us here. Let's get in the investor's voice here on this. Mr. Syed, you being one of the investors here in this, one, of course, the case being on nabbing the culprits, nabbing the owner. 7 directors of the company have already been arrested here. But as an investor, do you feel that you're going to be getting your money back now?
हेलो हेलो
मिस्टर सईद, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है? जी, बताइए.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to correct you, madam. My name is Sayyid Saif, S-A-I-F. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yes, madam. Actually, initially I was not aware about IMA jewelry, and one of my colleagues, she used to invest more than 7 lakhs in IMA jewelry, and she used to get money also on time for 7 or 8 years. Since 7 or 8 years, she used to get the money from IMA bank, and she suggested me, you also can invest, you will be also getting the benefit from them, and it is also totally halal amount. Halal amount, in a sense, the people, IMA people are not giving a particular fixed return. They are giving something like between 3% to 7%. It might be goes down, it might comes up. So even I have inquiry with our Mutawa Alim and Imam Sahab, and he was also said that if you are taking a particular fixed interest amount, then it comes under haram. If you are taking like some between up and down, so it would be like halal only, you can invest it. So after doing all the process, I have initially started by paying 2 lakh rupees. I have started paying invested 2 lakhs.
But Mr. Saif, so you're saying essentially you were convinced with the system?
Yes.
Right, so you're saying that initially you've had a good experience, you got money in time. But are you currently shocked that this has turned out to be a case of an absolute Ponzi scheme? You have the owner absconding at this point of time. He sent an audio clip saying.
Yes, when I got this news on Monday, I got a message on WhatsApp by one of my friend. And I was shocked because on Saturday I got a message that your money, the April, because we used to get 2 months of money, April and May. I got a message on Saturday, last Saturday around 11:30 or 12, your money has been transferred to your particular bank. Okay, so I was very happy. Maybe next is Sunday, Monday most probably the bank will open and I may get the April-May returns on Monday. So we were happy. On the Monday morning itself only I came to know about this, the Mansoor Khan has committed suicide, he sent a note and all this thing. And again we have gathered, me and my friends has gathered and we just inquire about more regarding this. We came to know that it's totally shockable news. The owner has been make himself hide somewhere. So we just fly to Bangalore, and when we see the Bangalore situation, there are thousands of people were just crying, angry, and they were just shocked in all this news. And it's not only the...
So this has been a case of absolute shock, and given the fact that one point that convinced you here was that this was in accordance in what is known as halal investment, and that really has been a point because of which a lot of people have invested here in this, and a company that did have a track record in paying in time. Let's get in Mr. Abdul Razak Khan, leader of the JDS here. Mr. Abdul Razak Khan, the expectations here being that the SIT that has now been set up, you would, the police, the state police having set up this SIT would nab the culprits in time, not just that, return people's money as well.
Sir, firstly, it's a real sad story, of all the investors who have blindly invested in this Ponzi scheme company. Now, from the government side, once the lid was blown on the night of 8th June, the police is swiftly taking action. All the properties of IMA, including his business establishments, have been seized. All his bank accounts have been freezed. The government is trying to get him back wherever he is from. Two special teams have been formed under two.
But Mr. Razak Khan, given the fact that there is an allegation, politicians have been involved in this as well, state politicians have been involved in this, should this case be handed over to the CBI?
Firstly, if we go by the audio clip that he has released, in that clip he has said that he is going to end his life, but he did not do that, and it is still not clear in which country he is or where exactly he is. To go by whatever he has claimed in the audio clip, he has to substantiate all those claims with some solid evidence. For that, he needs to come to the picture first. We are doing our best to get him, get him to the task and make him say exactly what
But Mr. Khan, why shouldn't the priority be here to hand it over to a central investigative agencies? We've seen other chit fund scam cases here as well, be it the Sharda chit fund scam, the Rose Valley chit fund scam. It was eventually cases that were handed over to the CBI to bring about that if you have local politicians involved, suspicion of local politicians involved, this is a case that needs to be handed over to the CBI.
I certainly wouldn't agree with that. Now, when the person is claiming that the local politicians are involved, because I know both the politicians very closely, in the fact, very, very closely, I know both the politicians and I have, worked with them, been with them. So I'm saying it is very easy to just put a blame on them, but the quantum of amount as to how much is the size of the scheme needs to be ascertained first of all. If his claim is that he has given 400 crores to an MLA, 400 crores cannot be just given in just one suitcase or something like that. How and why did he keep 400 crores to himself? First of all the money needs to be in the bank after the demonetization. How was he able to keep 400 crores with him? There are many questions behind this, and I wouldn't like to politicize this by saying, we have seen the episodes of CBI in the past. So SIT Karnataka has done tremendous and, commendable job when it comes to finding the killers of Gauri Lankesh and finding the killers of Dabolkar Pansare. So what I'm saying is our police is famous for doing its good
We're
job.
progressing to
It will
another
definitely
point.
do a
All
good
that we're
job.
asking
The
here
investors
is
need
for the
to have-
credibility of the investigations here as well. This makes it a fit case to be handed over to a central agency in which local politicians, local bodies, local authorities not involved. Let me in fact put that question forth here to our correspondent Neha. Neha, in those protests that you've been tracking of investors here, do they feel that they could trust the SIT to be doing this job, given the fact that there is already suspicion of local politicians being involved in this?
Well, sir, in fact, we did, of course, speak to a lot of investors yesterday who had reached a point where even they said that it's highly possible that the involvement of these politicians, of these named politicians, of the local Congress MLA, or be it for that matter, even the other senior Congress politician, there is a very high possibility that the involvement could be there. And what they really want to know is why the government of Karnataka is not really, sort of putting pressure. And so much so that a couple of investors even said that they would now make a plea to the Prime Minister of India himself to ensure that something is done. So possibly now, of course, asking for a CBI probe. The investors, to a couple of them, were echoing this very same thought of possibly even asking for a CBI probe. That's the highest, of course, level of probe. So it wouldn't exactly be wrong to say at this point of time that the case has been handed over to the SIT. Yes, definitely, there would be an investigation on that front. But if at all, of course, there is not a speedy and a timely decision taken, or if the SIT is not able to probe the matter, of course, in a quick manner, because we're talking about almost about 20,000 people, a minimum of about 20,000 people that have been affected, then definitely, of course, maybe possibly handing over the case to the CBI too would not be a bad decision. But at this point of time, of course, the SIT has been formed. Right. They would be probing the matter. Let's just wait and watch what really happens. And if at all then that it doesn't work out, then in all likelihood the case should be handed over to the CBI, is of course what a couple of investors also did tell us.
All right, Neha, many thanks for getting us those details. We're going to be taking in some of our viewers calling in this as well. But let's get in some technical facts as far as how easy has it been to be going undetected by operating this Ponzi scheme. We have with us our news editor Avni getting us those details here. Avni, it's very clear that in the system you need to get in certain licenses, certain signatures, go ahead by authorities if you're running an investment scheme. But we have seen similar such Ponzi schemes in the past as well, where thousands and lakhs of people are really duped. There is no cross-checking and these schemes run in for years.
Absolutely, Seher. Ponzi schemes have been going on for a long time and is something that will perhaps continue because the kind of interest rates that are offered are so high. And obviously, when people see this kind of interest rates and they made promises that, there is no risk involved, everybody sort of rushes to put in their money. So while, of course, there is a need for strict regulation, it is also very important for investors to be very cautious about where they're putting in their hard-earned money. They've lost many of them losing their entire life savings. So essentially a Ponzi scheme, how it works, it's a scam basically. It takes money from a group of investors and then uses that same money to repay the fresh group of investors, and thereby going around in a circle. And obviously this system is bound to collapse at some point or the other. And in this particular case, obviously religious beliefs were taken advantage of.
That's
because
right.
They said that we will make these as halal investments which are accepted under the Sharia law, and that is what lured investors to put in their money here, Seher.
That's right. So in this particular case, of course, the religion card was used here to lure in investors here, that this is not entirely going to be interest-based. This is going to be taken into account, halal investment. But Avni, help us also understand here on how transactions, returns and investments were made possible through the banking system. There are receipts of RTGS transactions that the investors are showing. And how was this made possible to operate in this manner?
We'll have to, of course, get those details in terms of how exactly the technicality of how this particular Ponzi scheme operated. But in any Ponzi scheme, it is completely a farce, whether it's the paperwork, whether it is the kind of the investment, really. Investment is just the technical word here we're using, but it's just a question of taking money from somebody and giving the money to somebody else. So it's just a round and round the circle that it goes on until this entire thing collapses and the money runs out, because after a point in in time, new investors, it will be difficult for new investors to keep coming in. And initially, how this also works in an attempt to lure investors is that initially these schemes do pay out the promised returns to investors as an attempt to get in more investors. And then suddenly after a point, like it happened in this case, the money just stops coming in.
Right. I'm going to be taking the final question. Thanks for those details there, Avni. To Mr. Abdul Razak Khan, JDS leader. Mr. Razak Khan, given the fact that investigations are still underway, one cannot go ahead and accuse political complicity here in this case here. But the manner in which Ponzi schemes manage to operate without being detected, or perhaps authorities looking the other way because they themselves would be beneficiaries at some point?
Now, first off, Sahir, the way he has presented the business is, something which is not that easy to understand, because he first took the confidence of the Muslim clerics of Bangalore city, and then he took the confidence of the local authorities. I'm saying you just can't put the blame on the government as of now unless, something concrete comes out. There is absolutely nothing that the government has favored him. Maybe some politicians have attended his inaugurations. It becomes a social obligation on us, when people call us for their inaugurations, we don't exactly get into their personal lives and their personal businesses. As a politician, just go there, do the ribbon cutting or whatever, just share a tea with them and just come back. This is the normal norm across the country. Any politician does that. They call us to weddings, they call us to opening ceremonies and other places. We definitely go there as a social obligation. That's about it. But then blaming these politicians for having attended an inauguration that, there might be some favors in return, that is absolutely wrong to say at this point, I could say. Now, further said that this person, he had groceries, gold stores, pharmacies and a hospital. It projected as if, yes, he is doing some kind of business. Nobody would even think that he might be doing something bad. And the magnitude of the business is...
You think that he used that carrot of a halal investment because of which he got in so many massive investors from one particular community? Well, the investigations here on this are still on, but it's important here to note the main accused, who has continued to send in audio clips. He's sending in audio clips, assuring his investors, saying that he's innocent, he would resurface, he would pay them back in time. It is for the SIT now to immediately nab him, track his cell phone, nab him, assure the investors that the culprit has been nabbed. But the bigger concern here, of course, is going to be to give back lakhs and lakhs of hard-earned money of innocent investors who face the brunt of this corruption. Appreciate all those voices who've spoken to us here on this, our correspondents as well, with those details. Thanks for being with us.